Welcome to AMT's Standard Bank Fresh Produce Overview. This week we look at the demand collapse and what this meant for prices, but can demand start to pick up again this week? This episode is proudly brought to you by Standard Bank, helping you grow every step of the way. Let's start off with this week's top market movers. The biggest winner was Cabbage with the price that increased by 14%. The biggest loser was Blueberries with a price drop of about 52% the past week. The one crop to watch this week is grapes, with prices remaining in an upward trend with the local season winding down at the moment. But with that, let's take a look at the latest vegetable prices. The national average potato price dropped to R52.77 per 10 kilogram bag. Large potatoes traded lower at 63, mediums at 50 and smalls at 31 rand. Mondials were down to 49 rand, while the Safra price came in at 60 rand. The average price for all class 1 potatoes across all sizes was 59 rand 40 per 10 kilogram bag. Despite last week's decline, the current price is still about 3% higher than a year ago, with volumes reported about 15% higher year on year as well. Volumes are expected to stay on a higher level this week and might even increase a bit, with the first Limpopo potatoes that is also starting to come in. Most regions are now in the market and it will keep volumes high, but we are expecting demand to also pick up as we head towards the end of this month. We could therefore see slightly higher prices this week, but the increase will be very limited. The average onion price dropped by 4% to R98.98 per 10 kilogram and is now 22% higher than a year ago. Brown onions averaged on 100 rand, red onions increased to 128 rand, and the white onion price dropped to 97 rand. Large onions traded higher at 107 rand, mediums lower at 104 rand, and smalls on 82 rand. We saw slightly higher volumes during May, but it was still significantly lower compared to last year. My feeling is that onion volumes can pick up in June, which could mean that prices may peak at the end of this month before starting to decline again. Tomato prices increased by 4% to a national average price of R12.42 per kilogram. This is now 63% higher than a year ago, while volumes are down by about 21% year on year. Large tomatoes traded at R14.19, mediums at R12.86 and smalls at R12.17. We may see higher demand this week, while lower volumes can also keep prices slightly elevated. We also expect more direct sales from retailers, which could also mean less volumes through the markets, which can also keep prices on this higher level. Carrot prices slipped by about 11% the past week to R8.80 per kilogram, but still remains 64% higher year on year. Large carrots traded on R9.87, mediums at R6.84 and smalls on R7.59. Volumes remained high, but luckily demand is also likely to start picking up this week. The expectation is that prices won't necessarily improve, but that this opportunity will be used to move more products and keep the fresh stock fresh. The colder weather also helps to keep products cooler and improve the shelf life. The average pepper price increased by 4% to R15.44 per kilogram. Green peppers came in at R12.07, yellow peppers dropped to R19.13 and red peppers declined to R21.36. The average price is now 61% higher than this time last year, with volumes 5% lower year on year. It looks like the price can stay in an upward trend until July. Cabbage prices increased sharply by 14% to R2.94 per kilogram. Garlic prices edged up by 9% to R80.59, with local garlic averaging on R77.83 and imported garlic reaching R87.91. With local volumes expected to decline during winter, we anticipate garlic prices to increase further or at least stay on this higher level over the next 2 months. Spinach prices dropped by 21% to R4.95 per kilogram, but are still 14% higher than a year ago. Sweet potato prices also declined by 10% to R5.66, driven by persistently weak demand and higher volumes. Pumpkin prices fell by 12% to R2.98. Butternuts also dropped by 10% to R4.04. Green beans decreased by 18% to R9.65. And cucumbers also saw a sharp 24% increase to R16.42. These trends were largely due to very weak demand last week, which is likely to improve this week again. In the fruit market, the average banana price dropped by 17% to R8.69 per kilogram or R156 per 18 kilogram box. The price drop was mostly due to demand that collapsed over the last few weeks, while volumes also started to pick up. Slightly better demand this week can support prices again. Apple prices increased slightly by 1% to R9.91, while the average pear price also gained 1% to R9.04. As expected, orange prices declined by 22% to R4.67 per kilogram on the back of lower demand and significantly higher volumes. As more volumes are still expected, we anticipate prices to remain on this lower level in June as well. Avocado prices also dropped by about 8% to R16.48 per kilogram, but is still 26% above last year's levels. Fuetes decreased to 24, Haas dropped to R12, and Pinkertons traded at R15 per kilogram. We continue to expect a gradual upward price movement towards the end of this year as well, and we can see the price to pick up at the end of this week due to higher expected demand. The average grape price surged by 9% to R51.20 per kilogram as volumes fell by 18% week on week. With the local season drawing to a close, the shift to imports could drive prices even higher over the next month or two. Pineapples dropped by 8% to R10.91 and lemons fell by 10% to R5.28. The weekly volumes of blueberries increased by 122% and therefore drove prices 52% lower over the past week, which traded on R105 per kilogram. Expect blueberry prices to remain at current levels for now. This episode was proudly brought to you by Standard Bank. For more detailed insights, forecasts and free downloadable tools, visit amtrends.co.za now. I'm Dr. Johnny van der Merwe. Thanks for watching and remember to tune in next week for more on the fresh produce markets in South Africa.